Joining me now in the studio is economist and management consultant Mayokun. Good morning. Welcome to TVC Breakfast. Talking about this new ministries, do you see the need, as the president put it, better service delivery to the populace?
I support the president. I believe in his thinking on these particular ones because sometimes we don't have enough emphasis when ministries are lumped together. So when you separate those ones, although I may have issues with one or two of them, but be that as it may, I think I support his thinking in terms of what he's trying to do.
So for you, what gray areas do you see?
Yeah, like when you say humanitarian affairs and human stuff like that, the idea is, what is the Ministry of Women Affairs doing? What is Youth and Sports doing? Because all these issues are linked. You know, I give you another example. Look at education. SANO is on strike. I was thinking about it yesterday. We think, okay, it belongs to the Ministry of Education. But what about labor and productivity? What about finance? Because at the end of the day, we are talking about money.
You talk about
money.
So
what we actually need is a systems thinking. We might have, for the 3 ministers, we can have 15 ministers. But at the end of the day, are they coming together? Are they thinking in sync?
I'm talking about the SANO, NASU, and every other industrial issues within the university education system. We've seen in the past now, Labour and the Ministry of Education coming together, like you've said. Finance, of course, will be involved, maybe in the shadows, monitoring situation. But that's on the side. NGOs have lauded, though, the introduction of the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, for example. They say it shows that the president is aware of their work on the field. And with this ministry, perhaps government will now work more with them to know the key areas to penetrate.
Yeah, definitely, because the statistics are mind-boggling, I won't lie to you. 1 out of every 5 kids out of school in the world is from Nigeria. If you factor it into West Africa, about half of children that are not in school comes from this one country. Is an humanitarian issue. It's humongous. 3 million people internally displaced. So with that new ministry, I believe that the president is saying that, okay, I've seen the issues, I'm willing to do something about it. I want a minister to be involved at that level. That means during the Federal Executive Council meeting at every week, definitely the minister will have something to say about developments in that arena.
Absolutely. So we should see that area sanitized. What about special duties? Do you see the relevance there? Many were a bit surprised why we should have special duties as a ministry back.
Special duties is special duties. It's always been there, even within the states. But the other angle of it, international affairs, I want to believe that maybe
when we have foreign affairs.
The foreign affairs should focus on embassy issues, but there are some emerging issues across the world affecting Nigerians. The issue of Economist will be one of them. The issue of maybe xenophobic attacks in South Africa should fall under that realm too. And you know, I was just in a clip yesterday where there was an issue in California. 80 Nigerians now arrested in connection with internet fraud. You know, all these things are affecting our image. If we have a systems design thinking approach, at the end of the day, we find out that what we are trying to achieve is, okay, is Nigeria getting the better for it? Is our image becoming better by the day, or are we still in the doldrums at its way? Right. I believe that this is a step in the right direction.
Okay, Mayokun, thank you very much for your analysis.
You're welcome.
We appreciate it.
Joining me now in the studio is an economist and management consultant, Mayokun. Mayokun, it's nice to have you join me right now.
Thank you.
Now, when it comes to the issue of picking political appointees, we have an idea of what goes into the lobbying that goes into the politicking that goes into it should be this, it should be that, and all the interests and all of that. But at the end of the day, when you look at the persons on board that make the final list and all of that from the last list of the ministers, how disappointed, satisfied, excited are you?
Well, I don't think other than those who are closest to the appointees, most of us will not be excited. But at the end of the day, we are also not disappointed because we were not expecting angels and we didn't expect the president to do so much different from what he has done in the first term. 12 of the ministers are returning. That's a testament to the confidence reposed in them by Mr. President. but not necessarily for the fact that they have performed above par. You know, they are there, like in Mr. Fashola, for instance. We are happier that the super minister status has been removed, not because he didn't try, but because the workload was just too much for him. Now that he's in charge of works and housing, we expect more focus, we expect more results-oriented policies.
As Nigerians called for the unbundling of the super ministry, like you put it, power, works and housing, the president listened to that. But you see that in finance and national planning, he bundled them together.
Well, I have a background in economics. You cannot separate finance from budgeting and planning.
Okay.
So I think
it's a good thing.
If there's anything I like that the president has done, it is bundling them together. Right. Because what we need is what you call design thinking. You look at problems from the impact on people. You know, like during their retreat, there was this word, thematic approach. Is different from some other approaches. Look at issues based on how they impact on end users, which are the citizens in this particular case. Finance, budgeting, and planning. You know, if I'm going to need 100 billion for a ministry, for instance, if it's not factored into the budgeting process, the 100 billion is not supposed to come in one tranche. It might take the next 5 years.
All right.
If we can factor this into our planning process, everybody will be the better for it.
All right. Thank you very much, Mayokun, for coming on the program. Thanks for your insight. Thank you.
Bala Zakka, good morning.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we also have in the studio an economist and management consultant, Mayokun. It's nice to have you join us right now.
Thank you for having me.
Great.
All right, so gentlemen, let me begin with you, Bala Zakka, now. Looking at the three-pronged agenda, so to speak, of this next level mission of the president, it does cut across not only curbing corruption and the likes, but we are seeing all the ministers, saddled with the expectation to deliver to all Nigerians.
To be honest with you, I was not only impressed, but I was surprised when I saw the proactive nature, the forward thinking of the government this time around. Because, we've always been having, agencies like, Federal Emergency Road Management Agencies, NOSDRA, National Oil Spill Response Detection Agency. And I've been asking myself, what about humanitarian services?
Even though we had the National Commission for refugees.
What about disaster management? With the social ills that we've been seeing in our societies, what about, honestly, social development? So when I saw a ministry specially targeted at that, to focus on that, I was impressed. We've been talking about internal security. At a point, the military was actually brought in or moved in to virtually take over everything that the police was doing. And people were wondering, what then happens to our police, And when I noticed that there is now a ministry for police affairs, that simply means everything about the welfare of the police, the psyche, the training will be visited. So internal security is likely to improve. When you also talk about even the energy sector, electricity in particular, I've been saying, power. Fashola in particular, I appreciated him. I appreciated everything about him. But I felt, was he not carrying so much? So when I saw the reduction in the workload and with the creation of the Ministry for Power, I just felt fun. So to me, honestly, at this point now, the federal government, or when you say the president or whatever, or the executive has done his best, or they've done their best. It's now left to us Nigerians and those who have now been appointed as supporting lieutenants of the president or the executive to lead us and make sure we get Nigeria honestly working and on the right track.
All right, Michael, let me bring you into this discussion now. In 2015, the president was very emphatic about the issue of being prudent, and he wanted to cut down, and he cut down on some ministries and merge others to streamline his activity. Now he has increased it again, bringing back the Ministry of Police Affairs, creating the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs. One would say these are all important, but others would say these issues can be handled by other ministries, like the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs. If you break it down, Ministry of Women Affairs has some duty to do there. Ministry of Health will have some things to do there. Ministry of Youth and Sports may have some things to do there, depending on how you see it.
Well, let me start by saying we campaign in poetry, we govern in prose. It's easy to, when you are not the one sitting on the hot seat, okay, you look at life differently. But when you are there and you have your own thinking to do, then definitely you might see things a little bit differently. An example is this issue of Ministry of Police Affairs. There was a clip making the rounds on social media some 2-3 days ago about another killing by SARS, extrajudicial killing, as it were. With a minister in charge, each of those issues, we have to command his attention. It's not like you are lumping the prisons with some other interior or NSC, DC issues. Now, this is strictly police affair. The issue of community policing too will also come to the fore.
Right.
Are we ready for this? Even if you are not launching out with state police, as it were, directly, what other things, what other elements, the positive side of state policing that can be incorporated into the existing infrastructure of the society so that we'll be the better for it? Some ministries can be merged, and I was happy that budget and planning was merged with finance. At least the same woman has been in charge for about a year or thereabout, so she will do a better job at it now. So I might still, on my own, if I'm the one sitting down, I will look at it, merge some ministries, but I don't take it away from the president for doing what he has done. Humanitarian-wise, the presidency, sometimes is the least things that define us the most. The presidency may be defined by how we treat the internally displaced people, by how we treat those who have been evicted by Boko Haram and the rest of them. All the grand ideas are good, but at the end of the day, what is happening to the least of us in society? That is how society, the major societies are judged. And that's the
reality that we are living in the country. But let's move on and go to other sectors. For example, like aviation. Now, aviation now is on its own, not like what obtained before under aviation. What does it, under transportation, what does it mean for users of this sector?
Well, it's also a welcome development because, at a point to me, I was seeing Nigeria as becoming too complex to manage. And for science students, sometimes when something looks complex, there is nothing wrong in breaking it down and giving focus to each section. At the end of the day, we are talking about national interest. We are talking about national progress and national focus. If breaking down even just security, if looking at security agencies and breaking them down and now microscopically looking at them, and possibly bringing individuals, with the required dexterity and management acumen to focus on them and make sure Nigeria is better for it, let it happen. This is the way we move countries. Systems even if you go to schools, why is it that they will say faculty of engineering, but you will have department of this, department, at the end of the day, they are probably all professors.
Absolutely.
But you have people who now are targeted and focus at different sectors, different sections for maximum deliverability of services.
All right. Mayokun, taking it from the issue of education, and you mentioned faculties and departments there, the president has said that he is going to give priority to education in this next dispensation. What would you like to see change drastically in education?
Well, there was this data the president was talking about, 1.3 billion has been spent by the federal government on education. I was wondering, if I break those figures down, how many of them are funds that have been repatriated or sent abroad, for educational purposes? How many of them came from private pockets? At the end of the day, we are spending so much money sending our children abroad for the education that we should be getting here. And that said, too, we are not educated enough. The whole thing is, for instance, everybody thinks the whole Nigerians are on Facebook. You'll be surprised to find out that we have less than 20 million Nigerians on Facebook. but because they are the vocal ones, everybody thinks this is how it is going. We have schools here. The federal universities are ill-equipped to handle 20,000 students each. Many of them are contending with 50,000. But by the time you bring that figure into the totality of our population, is a bit microscopic. So if there is going to be an investment, it should be deep and it should be lengthy. You know, federal government should invest and they make sure that the impact is felt. The lecturers too should, because at the end of the day, if they are not well paid, what do you expect them to give? We can do what they call a peer review mechanism. It's always done across these spheres. Between countries, what are other countries paying? As long as you continue to pay 20% of what Ghana is paying to their professors, people will always be living here and going to Ghana. So if government is really serious, and I believe maybe they are serious now, given the fact that they have hit the ground running, then they should focus on, okay, what are the things we need to measure? What are the things we need to put together to achieve whatever it is we are trying to achieve.
Okay.
At the end of the day, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it.
All right, we have to leave you here now. Thank you very much, Mayokun, for joining us on the program.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And Bala, Zakka, thank you very much for your contributions on the program.